Hi, and welcome everybody. It's Monday, October 4th. I'm Ross Benjamin. As always, I'm joined by my fellow professional sports handicapper, Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. It's our college football betting edition. We'll have some free picks for you later on in the show. But first and foremost, Doug, how are you, my friend?
Ross, I am very good, and I got two quick things to share with you. Well, and one of them you know about already for sure is that this, we've both admit when we don't do well. Okay, we've done these videos. So in this case, we get to talk a little bit, which is 4-0 last week on all of our free picks. So
Yeah.
that was good stuff. So we nailed it across the board. So that was fun. So hopefully the viewers and there was once again a nice good chunk of them, and got some free picks that went to the window and cashed. And which leads to one of my topics, or one of the things I want to talk about briefly, which was analytics. And last week I gave out Oregon State, which ended up, as it turns out, because as you mentioned, we do this on Monday, and it ended up being my top play of the week in college football, which was on the one I gave out here that we talked about. That can happen. And so the game's 24-24. Oregon State's favored by 2. 3 minutes to go. The Washington coach decided on 4th and 1 to go for it at his own 49. Okay. And decided to go for it. 4th and 1. Because the analytics said so. That's what the announcer said. Okay. So he goes for it. They don't get it. Oregon State gets the ball right there. They drag down 25, 30 yards, kick a game-winning field goal to cover the 2.5. And guess what, Ross? I had another winner, best bet, and on this show as well.
There you go. So much for analytics. Yes, similar thing happened with me, only it didn't go my way. I had Baylor as one of my premium paid selections against Oklahoma State. Doug, 8 minutes to go in the game, a 3-point game, and Baylor decides they're going to go for it on 4th and 1 from their own 30. Now, keep in mind, I'm getting 4.5 points in this game, and we're up 3. So lo and behold, they don't make it. I end up losing by 10. Can't get the old by the way. I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, there's analytics and there's common sense. Okay. I get what the percentages are, but there's also a small percentage of times you're not going to make it too. And why you would, again, I'm all for analytics, but it's got to make sense. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And that made no sense to me. You know,
I'm sorry. I think I've said this before, and if I haven't, or if I have, I apologize. But for me, analytics is for those that are positive thinkers. Okay. Yeah. And so if you're always a positive thinker, thinking that you're always going to succeed when you do something, then it's for you. Okay. Otherwise, that's why you and I spend our time doing a lot of other things and looking at games. Okay. Looking at the positives and the negatives to understand who's got the best chance to cover.
Exactly. And if we have to worry about decisions like that when it comes to analytics, it makes our job a little bit harder, to be quite honest with
Yes.
you, because you can't predict that. You know what I mean? You'll have to know the tendencies of coaches, and who's to say, if you even account for that a situation's even going to come up at a crucial time that may come into play. So you almost have to just disregard it, and when it happens, you hope the thing bounces your way like it did for you the other day. Any other thoughts on what we saw last week in college football?
Well, Ross, it was very evident the cream rose to the top last weekend. Okay, now the point spreads were there to back it up, but for example, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State all just crushed it. And as one of the I forget which sports book it was in Vegas. He said over the weekend, talking about specifically the Georgia-Arkansas game, because the vast majority of money was on Arkansas. And as he said, what happens when the public likes underdogs? That's usually when they have a lot of fleas. Yeah. And so it was, everybody was excited, and I have been excited. There seemed to be, this maybe is going to be the year that things are going to open up a little bit. Well, doesn't seem to be the case after this past weekend. However, there's one thing, though, that looks good. Okay, maybe change it up a little bit. Cincinnati. Yeah. Cincinnati went into South Bend, and they won the game. Their defense was outstanding. Their offense was more than good enough. And, and there was plenty of people like Notre Dame as a home underdog in that one, and they just took it to them. And you look at their schedule, Ross, Cincinnati, their two toughest games. I don't even know if you can consider Central Florida a tough game anymore after they lost to Navy, but their two toughest games are at home, both in Central Florida and SMU. So they have a heck of a shot to run the table. And, are there going to be other teams? Yes, but I'll tell you what, they win their the rest of their games by 15 to 25 points. I don't know how you keep them out.
No, you can't. And it's a good thing for college football because we've run through this situation on a couple of occasions where teams have run the table and not made the playoffs because of the conference that they play in. With Cincinnati, Luke Fickell, I got to give him a lot of credit because he's had a ton of success since taking over at Cincinnati after he came from Ohio State. And great recruiter, really good in-game coach with his decision-making. Put a great staff around him. And he had several opportunities to jump to Power 5 conference schools over the last couple of years, and he turned them away. And now Cincinnati is going to become part of the Big 12, I believe, in 2 years. So, he's rewarded for hanging in there with a program like the Bearcats. And boy, oh boy, does Georgia look good, especially defensively. I mean, how do you score on that team? Arkansas was, they're a good team, and Georgia made them look like a Sun Belt team, with all due respect to the Sun Belt, So in Alabama, Alabama's Alabama, 14.5-point favorite at home and against a really good Ole Miss team, and they just jumped right on them 21-0 and sailed the rest of the way. And Iowa Penn State this week. I'm looking forward to that matchup. But, Doug, right now, the only two teams that really stick out is Alabama and Georgia to me. From my eye test, watching Iowa and watching Penn State, I don't know if they have it offensive. I know they're just as good defensively as, I don't know about Georgia, but just as good defensively as Alabama, and they can hang in there because of their defenses. But I don't know if they have enough to compete with those teams from an offensive standpoint. That's the only drawback. That's why I'm hoping Cincinnati gets in there. Be quite honest with you, they'd be a better matchup for either Alabama or Georgia than Iowa or Penn State will be. But we'll see. There's still a lot of football left to play. Anyway,
That's
Doug,
for sure.
the free pick on Saturday, you're taking a look at the Utah and USC game. Right now, USC is a 3.5-point favorite. Tell the folks who you like and why.
Okay, Ross. I'm going back to the Pac-12. No particular reason, just how it worked out. Now, USC, of course, we know every year they have the talent, okay, but there's not always the discipline, and that has always to do with coaching, seemingly, and that's why they're a hard team to trust. Everyone keeps saying that USC needs now a big-time coach now that they fired Clay Helton, and because it's a big-time program. Now, I want to put one thing to rest, though. There is no truth to the rumor that Urban Meyer is going to leave there, okay, to be the coach at USC. But the first thing he wanted to do was to interview the Song Girls dance team. There's no truth to that rumor at all. Okay,
let me just interject there for a second. If you don't know what Doug's talking about, Urban Meyer was caught on video after the Jags' recent game, and he had a girl on his lap dancing on him at his restaurant in Ohio. So anyway, go ahead, Doug. I had to fill him in.
and he also had an Ohio State shirt or like a sweater type thing. So I guess that was his way of going incognito. Yeah. But all right. So enough about that. So that's put to rest. All right. Now Utah, they have enjoyed quite a few good seasons under Kyle Whittingham, but this does not appear it's going to be one of those. They're struggling a little bit out of the gate. 2-2 already. Their starting quarterback, after he got pulled in their last game, he went to the Dr. Pepper portal transfer, and so they got some issues there. Now the Utes defense appears to be quite good. They're 27th, but they're 27th in total defense. But if you look at yards per point, They're only 97th in the country. Now they've gotten some bad situations on some short fields, but they haven't stopped anybody either when that has happened. And that's part of being a really good defense. You're going to be put in bad situations. You have to stop them. Now the Trojans offense, they can move the ball. Okay. They have moved it literally on everybody. They're averaging 33.4 points per game. And if you dig into the numbers further, Ross, you'll find that Utah, when they give up 28 points or more, they're 27-72 against the number. So now on Monday morning, before we did this video, USC was -3, and they've been bumped up to -3.5 as just before I checked the numbers before we did this video, and the total was 52. So if you do the math, okay, you take the 52, you take basically the 3.5, that makes a potential score of 28-24 in favor of USC. So what did I just say about 28 points with Utah giving up? They're a bad bet. Ross, I'm going to support the angle and the men of Troy to get the job done in LA and take down the Utes.
So Doug Upstone is on the USC Trojans -3.5 against Utah. Yeah, two disappointing teams this year. Utah and USC were both ranked in the top 25 to start the year. And obviously things went south real early for USC after they lost that early season game. And then Clay Helton fired after game 2 of the season. What? That had to be an internal issue. And, now you got these kids in limbo, Doug. They're playing out the year not knowing who's going to be their head coach. Although there are some rumors Deion Sanders might be a candidate. Anyway, I figured I'd get that reaction out of you. Anyway, let's get to my free pick. It comes in the Virginia and Louisville game. And right now I'm going to look at the total in this game. It opened at 64.5, quickly moved to 66.5, and I can certainly see why. Although these teams have played the majority of games under combined, I like the over here. And you look at Virginia, they can't stop anybody, okay? Especially they can't stop the run. And Louisville's a very balanced offense in terms of running the ball and in terms of passing also. I mean, if you look at their total yards and look at where they're coming from, it's almost a 50-50 split between passing and running. So that presents a problem for a Virginia defense that can't stop the run to start with. You're also looking at a Virginia offense that's currently number 2 in the country in total yards and also number 4 in passing yards. So this is a team that can throw the ball. The quarterback's name escapes me. And if you know me well, I'm not great with bringing up names when I'm handicapping the game because it's all accounted for in the point spread. I can tell you he's a left-hander and he's thrown for close to 400 yards a game. And Louisville also has some issues defensively as well. I think this is going to be a high-scoring, very entertaining game that probably is going to be close to the total of 80 more so than the total of 66.5. So I'm going to go over the total in the game between Virginia and Louisville on Saturday, October 9th. Any final thoughts, Doug?
Yes, I'll just put out there how things have been going. Ross, by the way, and I do agree with you on that Virginia. I think a Virginia Louisville game, not enough defense and an awful lot of offense. And the quarterback, his last name is Armstrong, by the way.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Which seems appropriate given he's throwing for almost 400 yards a game, right?
Yeah, so no pun intended. Yeah.
Or clearly intended in this case.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that. So, hey, I just came off, had 2 best bets, one in college, one in pro, hit them both. Okay. Oregon State and then the Baltimore Ravens. So this season now, Ross, I'm 9-1 in my weekly best bets. Okay. For the entire football season, in the last month, I'm 19-11. Okay. In all picks for the college and pro. So it's off to a really good start. And for those that want to know, I'm Doug Upstone from Doc Sports. Thanks for watching. And we're going to just try and keep handing out these video winners for you. And if you want to step over and either to Ross's site or to my site and want to pick up some winners, be right there to help you, get you started on the right path.
And I just want to remind everybody the Major League Baseball playoffs start this week, Doug. And I know you've done pretty well on Major
Oof.
League Baseball this year as well, right? You want to fill the folks in a little about your Major League Baseball?
Yes, absolutely. For the season, I'm the #1 handicapper at Docs. I also am monitored at several other sites, and basically for the season, I finished. Docs only has 12 guys. That's not saying that's. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I'm just saying that's true. And other sites, that I monitors I belong to since like most of them are since like 2003 or 2004 that I've belonged to, and in that I've just finished in the top 10, couple of top fives and some different ones for baseball. So it has been a wonderful season. Not my best ever, but wonderful. And so I'm looking forward to the playoffs. Playoffs are harder. Make no mistake about it. But you know what? You just if you do the research, do the numbers, you can find some numbers. Ross knows the deal, and so do I.
It's Major League Baseball this year for Ross Benjamin at rbwins.com, 38-19 with my top plays, folks. Only 57 of those released, and I hit 67% of them, and at an average money line price of -109. So I'm not giving you big chalks there. But when I come out with a 10-star top play in Major League Baseball, you need to pay attention, you need to purchase, and you'll be rewarded on a consistent basis. Coming off a bad week in football, look, I'm transparent. I beat on my chest when we win, but when we lose, I own up. So all I could tell you, folks, thanks for hanging in there, and for you, anybody new that wants to jump aboard, I'm going to be in for a big week this week in football. And also, don't forget, again, Major League Baseball playoffs. You got two great MLB handicappers. Doug's #1 in Major League Baseball at DocSports.com. And if you ever visited DocSports.com, first of all, they've been around forever and a day, which is speaks volumes in itself in this industry. And second of all, there's some great handicappers at that site. And if you're #1 in any category like Doug is, you're having a hell of a year. Anyway, until the next time, for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, take care, good luck, and God bless.